How do you handle positive guilt? Let me define positive guilt for you. Positive guilt is when we do something that is our fault and we feel bad about it. Positive guilt goes the next step in that we make amends for it, we apologize for it, we kind of assess what we've done and then determine very clearly not to do it again. Positive guilt. And in our imperfection and our flaws, we have all done something that we feel bad about. We should have handled something differently. We should have handled something better than we did. I know I've been in that place. That's positive guilt. So in the relationship, you're going to do something bad you shouldn't do. And it's better to apologize for it up front and be very direct about it. Don't make excuses. Don't do an explanation. Just apologize for it. That's apologizing. Positive guilt comes in. You say, I'm not going to do this again. Here's what I'm going to keep from happening again in the future. And I've experienced it. I've made amends and I've determined, I've learned and grown from it not to do certain things again, to repeat it, especially with someone else. Here's negative guilt, because I've experienced both. Negative guilt is when you've done your absolute best in an area. For example, if you're a parent, you've done your absolute best that you knew how to raise your kids. And then as your kids grow older and they become adults, they may get involved in an activity that is not really to their benefit, not to their, the positive flow of their life. It interrupts their life and you feel guilty about it. You feel, what did I do as a parent that caused this? I should have been a stronger leader. I've been there as well. The problem with negative guilt is that if you've done your absolute best, there's nothing that you can do about what has happened, about what someone else has done. For example, if it's your child, there's nothing that you can do about the decisions that they've made, especially if they're an adult. So if you take responsibility for it, that's negative guilt. It works against you. It makes you feel bad about yourself. It makes you feel bad about taking actions that you took or, things that you could have done differently, and you can't go back to the past and change that. And all that does is feed on itself and attacks your self-esteem when our children have the space, it's their life, they have the allowance to make their own mistakes. But as a parent, it's important to recognize if you've done your absolute best based on what you knew, then that's it. There's nothing more than you can do about that. Sometimes us as parents, especially if you are a committed parent, it's hard to see your kids make decisions that when you think about it, you're like, maybe I could have done this better, or maybe I could have done that better, or made this change or that change. There's nothing you can do about it now, but set an excellent example of succeeding in your own personal life, in your own personal space, continuing to grow. That's the thought I want to share with you about positive and negative guilt. Positive guilt, something we've actually done. We can apologize for it and then take action not to repeat it. Negative guilt is something that affects us that someone else has done, but because we had a lot of influence on their life, we feel that we're responsible for it. And there's nothing you can do about that. So that's not guilt that we should hold within ourselves, because all it does is eats away at you. And sometimes it wears on the other person too, because now they feel responsible for making you feel bad about not being better at whatever influence you had in their personal life. God bless.